I would like to thank you for this kind invitation. And this is an important event which is, has become a fixed annual appointment for all those who want to deepen their knowledge about ethics and digitalization. And this is the first time I will speak from Lecce and from this new position at the University of Salento, where I am the head of the Ethics in the Wild Research Lab, which is a new institution in the University of Salento, which is focused on ethical issues of digitalization, obviously, but also with the ethical issues concerning environmental topics, just like climate change, but also with the ethics in finance, so in the tech fin sector. So, and many more topics. We are just at the beginning, so the lab has been established 2 months ago, but we are very eager to start with our initiatives. So I will be speaking about trustworthy AI, which is a normative concept, which is a concept with a normative content. And Dr. Clara Maveglia has already introduced the concept, and I will try to say something more about this concept. So this is the new label, if you want, for so the European vision about artificial intelligence. You know that the European Union is started in 2004. Is by investing in artificial intelligence. And therefore, so the notion of trustworthy AI is a crucial one for the European strategy on artificial intelligence. And so the topic of my presentation, as you can see, is from theory to practice. And because this is the very idea of this document, which does not want to be just another list of principles, because we have a lot of lists of principles, and this document is somehow different from all these other previous documents. So my presentation, therefore, is focused not only on these ethics guidelines for trustworthy AI, which is a document from April 2019, but I will rely also on the definition of artificial intelligence, which is a document from December 2018. Both documents were drafted by the high-level expert group on artificial intelligence. But in addition, I will also focus on the proposal for a regulation of the European Parliament, which is a document from last year, from April 2021. And so then let's start. So as I said, Clara was also already has already introduced the very concept of trustworthy artificial intelligence and why this concept is so crucial for the European strategy on artificial intelligence. This is the diagram that you can find in the guidelines for trustworthy AI. So, and as you can see, so this is the reason why this is more than just another list of principles, because there are 3 steps in this document. So the first one is concerned with the foundations, with the foundational themes. The second one is focused on the realization of trustworthy artificial intelligence. And the last one is more focused on the assessment. And then, as you can as you can imagine, so you can have a complete characterization of trustworthy AI, starting from the foundation to realization, and finally by the evaluation step. So this is the reason why, so this document is a step forward if compared to previous documents, which are merely, as I said, a list of principles. Then, so first of all, before starting with the foundation, I will have a look at the definition, which is concerned with the two focuses. The first one is about artificial intelligence systems, artificial intelligence applications, and the second one is more, so the definition, the characterization is more focused on artificial intelligence understood as a scientific discipline. So then, I don't know, we won't have a Q&A section, but so you can send me your question if you have any questions. And the document is interesting because there are, in the same document, there are different types of discourses going on. So the first level is a technical one. So this is not very so the focus of the document, but there are some relevant reference to the technical aspects of artificial intelligence. Then the legal perspective, and the societal, and finally the ethical aspects. And I would like to stress so this variety of dimensions which are important around so the main subject of artificial intelligence. So the main components are, so as I have already said, that artificial intelligence should be lawful. So therefore, artificial intelligence should comply with all applicable laws and regulations. So then artificial intelligence should also be ethical. So this means that artificial intelligence should ensure alignment with ethical principles and values. And finally, so artificial intelligence should be robust from two different perspectives. So from a technical perspective and from a social perspective. And therefore, we should try to avoid artificial intelligence applications that could cause unintentional harm. Another specification is also relevant, that when we speak about artificial intelligence systems, we have two different applications in mind. First of all, this application can be purely software-based, and or we can have in mind so artificial intelligence embedded in hardware devices, and therefore, so we mean robotics. So the application are focused on robotics system. We should also consider that artificial intelligence applications and system, they are context specific, and therefore, so these guidelines are more general in nature, and therefore they need to be adapted to the particular artificial intelligence application. So this differentiation between a more general background of guidelines and context specificity of the application, we can read these two levels also in the proposal of the European Parliament. And they had a very interesting solution because they don't address all context-specific artificial intelligence systems and applications, but they have some kind of some appendix that can be updated, and therefore without modifying so much the general draft of the proposal. And therefore, so we have a kind of tension between sectorial approaches and a general horizontal framework. And so in this, we need to have in mind this differentiation. We also have in mind to another differentiation, because so the title of this slide is Tale of Two Cities, because from one side, so we have the first component of trustworthy artificial intelligence, so this adherence to law. And then we have also a second component of trustworthy artificial intelligence, which is more ethical in nature. And then, therefore, we have so regulations, but we have also some other ethical issues that cannot be dealt with regulation. So the governance of artificial intelligence is a very complex one. And therefore we need to have in mind so these two different aspects of the normative questions which are implied in the governance of artificial intelligence. And then we can, so having all this in mind, we have to, we can address so the guidelines where so this normative concept is characterized. So you may know that there are a lot of different other notions, not with the normative content, which during these years have characterized the discourse about artificial intelligence, but also about emergent technologies. I just wanted to remember the term responsible research and innovation. Maybe Professor Pozzo will tell something about this, because he was also the organizer of a very important conference in Rome 2014, and at that time, so the concept, the very notion of responsibility, responsible research and innovation was the main notion with normative content. Now we have evolved, and the new normative content is conveyed by the idea of trustworthiness. So, as I said, first of all, foundation of trustworthy AI. So a domain-specific ethics code, just like so these guidelines, however consistent, so developed and fine-grained as it may be, can never function as a substitute for ethical reasoning itself. So Dr. Mavelia was already saying how important it is to have this kind of events like this conference, and to foster and enhance so the digital literacy of European citizens. And at the same time, so we should be aware that we must remain sensitive to contextual details that cannot be captured in general guidelines on the regulation. So regulation is an important part of the governance of artificial intelligence and more general of emergent technologies, but we need also to be able to exercise so deliberation. And because the solutions that we have with the regulation, so they cannot really address and deal with all problems that we have, or all issues that we have when dealing with the process of digitalization. And therefore, behind developing a set of rules, ensuring trustworthy AI requires us to build and maintain an ethical culture and mindset through public debate, education, practical learning, and events, conferences like this conference, this two-day conference. So Clara was also saying that human dignity is qualifies so the approach of these guidelines, and human dignity so is so the adherence to this principle is also important because it reveals so the human-centric approach of these guidelines. So it should be noted that a commitment to human-centered artificial intelligence and its anchoring in fundamental rights requires collective, societal, and constitutional foundation in which individual freedom and respect for human dignity is both practical, possible, and meaningful. So rather than implying an unduly individualistic account of this human-centric approach. And so fundamental rights for trustworthy AI include respect for human dignity, freedom of the individual, respect for democracy, justice, and the rule of law, but also equality, non-discrimination, and solidarity, and including the rights of persons at risk of exclusions. So, but summarizing, so that citizens' rights are also involved in this kind of approach on fundamental rights. So what are the ethical principles in the context of artificial applications? So this is just the summary of the first step. Develop, deploy, and use artificial intelligence applications and system in a way that adheres to the ethical principle of respect of human autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and so the last one you can see is somehow different because the number 1, 2, and 3 are more ethical principles, and explicability is more a requirement in terms of epistemic requirement. And so this is the first step, and so as you may already think, so then tensions during the application of these principles, tension may arise between this principle. And for the solution of this tension, there is no fixed solution. And therefore it is important to be to foster so the ethical literacy of citizens and all of societal actors who are involved in the realization and the evaluation and in the use of artificial intelligence. So the guidelines also refer to 7 key requirements, and which are important for establishing a culture of trustworthiness in artificial intelligence. So the first requirement is a human agency and oversight, and therefore you can imagine that this is important when we are confronted with the human-machine interaction, and therefore the focus is still and always on the human agency and the human autonomy. The second key requirement is about technical robustness and safety, and the third requirement is about privacy and data governance. Number 4 is about transparency, and here, as you know, we have ethical principle, we have technical, so ethical requirements, technical requirements, and also legal requirements like privacy and data governance. And transparency is a requirement which implies traceability, explainability, and communication. So there are all requirements more focused on epistemic condition of the implementation of artificial intelligence. Then we have diversity, non-discrimination, and fairness. And on a more societal level, we have societal and environmental well-being. So the digital transition is also committed towards an environmental well-being, and not just a societal one. So, and then as a last requirement, so we have the accountability requirement, which includes auditability, minimization, and reporting of negative impact, trade-off, and redress. So here you can, yeah, this is not a good one, but you can see how, so there's 7 key requirements do interact. So the interrelation of these 7 requirements all are of equal importance. They support each other and should be implemented and evaluated throughout. This is also important, the artificial intelligence systems life cycle. The stakeholders, this is also a very crucial point. Sorry for this. Okay. So, because we have a different group of stakeholders and they have, their role is different. So, for instance, developers should implement and apply the requirements to design and development processes. Deployers should ensure that the system they use and the products and services they offer meet the requirements. And finally, the end user and the broader society should be informed about these requirements and able to request, so to request that they are upheld. This is the system's entire life cycle. So first of all, we have rights, principles, and values. This is the foundational step. Then we have the requirements for trustworthy AI, and then so the evaluation, so the technical and non-technical methods for implementing and evaluating so the artificial intelligence system. So therefore, the realization of trustworthy AI is a continuous process, and these slides tries to depict so this continuous process. What are the methods that are able to realize trustworthy AI? First of all, architecture for trustworthy AI, ethics and rule of law by design. This is a very important point. So we don't want to have the ethical evaluation of artificial intelligence system at the end of the process. So what we strive for is to have so ethical expert and technical expert working together on the laboratory floor. And obviously the input of the different stakeholders, so from the societal stakeholders, from the end user, the citizen, is also crucial in this kind of approach, which is so ethics by design. then explanation methods, so some kind of transparency, testing and validating, and then so the development of in some indicators which are needed in order to assess the quality of the service. In order to realize trustworthy artificial intelligence, we have so a lot of methods. First of all, regulation, which is mandatory, so in the field of law, and then we have codes of conduct for the technical stuff implied in designing or realizing the system and applications. Then we have so the process of standardization, certification, accountability via governance frameworks, and then we have some other more flexible tools to realize trustworthy AI, just like education and awareness to foster an ethical mindset, so the capability to exercise, so the ethical evaluation, the capability to deliberate. And obviously, the important method is stakeholder participation and social dialogue, and therefore initiatives like this, which aim to foster these methods. And then, so diversity and inclusive design teams. So the last step is about assessing trustworthy AI, and it includes 3 components. First of all, governance, then using the trustworthy artificial intelligence assessment list, and then to examine which kind of relationship is in place between artificial intelligence application and the existing law and processes. So the assessment list and governance structure should be developed in close collaboration with all stakeholders across the public and the private sector. The process then therefore will allow for extensive feedback from 2 parallel processes. Then qualitative process, ensuring representability, and a quantitative process where all interested stakeholders can sign up to pilot the assessment list and provide feedback through an open consultation. And by the way, this process was implemented by the European Commission during the work at these guidelines. So there was a platform at the European Commission level, which has been updated, and then you can consult this platform and participated in other open consultations. And the platform has the name of Futurium. So it's a kind of laboratorium where all European citizens are called to participate in this kind of assessment, in this kind of deliberation about the future. And so they are the main reference of this presentation, and I am done. Thank you very much.